everybody. We're back. It's all good. My next guest stars in the ABC sitcom George Lopez, and beginning this Friday, you can see him in the film The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl in 3D. Please welcome George Lopez.
Yay!
Now, you and I talked briefly backstage about this, but this is pretty serious stuff. You were quite ill recently.
I was.
And this is an amazing story. You needed a kidney replacement, and your wife...
My wife, Ann, gave me one of her kidneys so that I could live.
Isn't that amazing? That's just...
That tells you that I'm not married to a Mexican girl.
Why is that?
Because she would have been like, the way he treats me, bull. That was it. So my wife, and you know, and it's been so much goodwill, you know, like we're on the cover of People, you know, if you've seen the cover of People, I'm lying in a hospital bed with an IV. Conan, I look like Eric Estrada at 9 o'clock in the morning, you know.
I've seen him at 9 a.m. It's not pretty.
And there's so much goodwill, but being Chicano, you know, we start to turn on people who have been good to us. It's just part of a cultural, you know, kind of a defect. So everybody says, like, well, your wife is an angel. And I'm like, you know what? I could have lived 3 months without it, man. Really, who cares? But, you know, I would have been good till August 9th, man. What's the big deal?
Yeah. Were you nervous? Because this is a big operation. I mean, before you went under, were you getting
before
panicky?
I went under, they had taken my wife early. So they start her, and then I'm in this room, and I'm kind of laying there. And this woman comes in, and I don't even know who she is, but she leans over me. She starts putting makeup on in this mirror, and I'm laying there going, okay. She's putting, like, blush and this, and I'm like, who is this lady? You know, so I went under the assumed name Tom Ace. I didn't go in as George Lopez. I went under from Ace Ventura, you know, Tom Ace.
Right.
And
that's the name you use when you go places?
Yeah, Tom Ace. But
can't use it anymore.
Not anymore. I'll be Ernest T. Bass now.
Yeah.
So everybody got tricked, but the orderlies who are Latinos that work at the hospital, you know, because they'd be mopping and they'd go, Tom Ace, that's George Lopez, man. Tom Ace, you know. So what happened was the lady said to me, I think it's wonderful what your wife is doing for you by giving you life. And I said, well, if you saw where we lived, it's the least she could do, you know.
Right.
And no laughter, you know, she just nothing. So, you know, being a comedian, when you're in trouble, you punch it again. And I go, yeah, we got a house in Pebble Beach, too, so if I need the other kidney, I'm taking that one, too. Nothing, just like this. Just like this.
They all work in that hospital.
But, you know, the whole thing is people always say now, everywhere I go now, because of the kidney, and my wife is just really a saint, but I get you have to be so nice to your wife now that she's giving you a kidney. I'm like, not as nice as I had to be before she gave me the kidney.
Now
I can do whatever I want now. You don't like my attitude? Yeah, well, you should have bought that before you gave me the kidney, man. Because me and your kidney are going out, so later... We'll probably be home around 5.
You know what's unusual? When someone gets a donor kidney, they usually, and many times they have to go to a blood relative, and so it's unusual to go to your wife.
It is unusual, and
did you think about going to your family?
You know what, Conan, my family and I do not get along. I mean, they're in worse shape than I was, man, really. I mean, I didn't want to get a transplant from my family and wake up with 2 strikes against me, you know?
Right.
You know, all of a sudden wake up in a prison hospital. What happened? Your kidney was seen at the double murder crime scene. Ruben, you're coming with us. What?
So you didn't know that you were that sick, right? You had no idea.
You know, I knew that I was sick, and I didn't tell anybody because, you know, one thing Latinos never do is confide.
Right.
You know, white people are very good at confiding.
Sure.
You know, I'm an infidel, please forgive me, you know. And us, I mean, you could see a guy with a girl he's not supposed to be with, and they could bust you, and they'd go, hey, didn't I see you last night with a girl aren't you married? And when Chicanos know we're busted, we always go, who told you that?
Right.
That's how you know we're busted. Whenever you hear, yeah, who told you that? Busted.
Right.
Like somebody will say, there's $40 missing from my wallet. Did you take it? Who told you that?
I'm going to try that and see if it works.
Try. Who told you
now,
that?
I have to
Don't
ask...
try the one about the other one.
I'll try it all. You testified at the Michael Jackson trial.
I did.
Which I have to ask you about that. A few celebrities have been called, and you were called.
I was one of them, and I was accused of taking $300 from this boy's wallet, which I did not. It was $280. No.
Yeah.
But But what happened was that I got pulled to court. My wife and I actually testified. So when I come around the corner, it's very quiet in Santa Maria. And you come around the corner and you see all these Jackson zealots, man.
Sure, yeah.
And so I get out of the car,
right.
and immediately they know me and they start yelling, "Hey, George Lopez! George Lopez!" And there's one voice that's louder than the other, and it's this one lady who's yelling, "Don't touch boys' private parts! Don't touch boys' private parts!" And I'm looking back and I go, "Who told you that?" What the hell? You know,
Well,
and I'm like,
well, now we got to talk.
and I'm like, "Why are you yelling at me? The guy you want's already inside, man." So I go in the courtroom, and
Did you see Michael? Is he? I mean,
it's surreal in there, man. I mean, it's very quiet, and you see all the reporters, all the pool reporters, you see them. And then I look at Michael over the corner, and there's Michael Jackson literally looking like a nutcracker, you know, at Christmas.
Right.
I mean, the dude looked...
Oh, calm down, everybody.
I mean, this cat dresses like the Captain and Tennille at the same time, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, literally looks like a guy who would help you to your seat at Lowe's Theater from the 50s, man.
He's got the weird uniform.
He's got the weird uniform, you know, he doesn't have the pillbox hat, but, you know.
Right.
And I'm looking at him, and I can't help but think, does he look Asian or the color you paint the guest bedroom? I mean, what the hell is this? Who is this dude?
So it's...
Hey, I didn't touch the boys' private parts, relax.
So this is strange because I'm just, you know, you're there and so you testify and it's just got to be a surreal experience.
It was the most unbelievable place that I'd ever been, and then they did the reenactment.
Oh, were you happy with who played you in the reenactment?
The dude looked more like Scott Peterson than he looked like me. but the one that got my wife is my wife was dressed up in a St. John knit, and it was some great color, and then they just cast some non-union actress to play my wife. And my wife went nuts, like, you know, because it wasn't her.
She was mad at who played her in the E.
She looked like Mindy from The Facts of Life, man. I'm not married to Mindy from The Facts of Life, so my wife is, like, upset. She calls me on the phone, and she says, "Did you see the E reenactment?" I said, "No, I haven't seen it." "Well, somebody told me that they saw you watch it." "Who told you that?" "No, that ain't going to work then." So I had to buy off time till, but it was bizarre, man. To say the least.
I can imagine. I'm glad I wasn't called.
So I'll just say this. Whatever the verdict is in the Michael Jackson trial, I don't think that there'll be similar riots as to the Rodney King case. I don't think that African-American people are going to riot for some cat that looks Asian.
Right,
you know?
right.
Maybe some Korean store owners may burn their own stores, but I don't expect...
It's going to be a confusing day for everybody.
Tell me, do I like this, or where am I?
The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl in 3D. You play 4 parts in this movie.
4 parts, which... Robert Rodriguez is a brilliant filmmaker, but he's also Mexican-American. So one thing that we do is when we hire one guy to do one job, he ends up doing 4. I have 4 parts, and I laid some tile when I wasn't working.
All right, The Adventures of Shark Boy, Lava Girl in 3D. Opens Friday. George, I'm so glad that you're well and you're doing so great. George Lopez, and we're at that Kaiser Chiefs. Everybody, we're back. We're back. That's our show. That was great. I want to thank all my guests. Stay tuned for Last Call with Carson Daly. Bye, everybody. Bye.
George, did you see that? That's so strange. It's raining. That's something you almost never see here.
You know, the wonderful thing about New York is when it rains, it's a city that makes its own gravy.
That's true. That's very true. It does do that. Yum, yum. Hey, listen, tomorrow, Regis returns.
No!
Yes!
I want to stay.
The audience, they love you, George. They went, oh. No.
Two people.
Rebecca Romaine Stamos will be here.
That's right, she will be here.
Janice Dickinson, the world's first supermodel, will be here.
Also, the latest Survivor All-Star to get kicked off the island, Alicia Calloway will be here.
They got rid of Alicia? I missed it on Thursday. Oh,
She's
that's
out.
too bad.
But she'll be here. All the people who get thrown off of these shows end up here.
They do. They come here.
It's a great place it's a warming hut for the career.
It's where careers come to die. Just kidding. Now listen, she went from singling people out on MTV to the Hollywood big screen when she made you scream. Now she's venturing into motherhood. Please welcome the beautiful, the very funny Jenny McCarthy.
Before we start talking about myself, I would just like to tell everybody that I worked with Kelly on Hope and Faith, which we'll talk about later, and she is just as nice off camera as she is on. Truly. Because
that's a lie.
It's so true because, you know, most people are evil, and you are really nice. In fact, I got you a little something.
Oh, no.
To take care of a little problem that you might have, but I just wanted to get you something to dress up your little finger.
Oh no, the elephant finger. She makes fun because I have a finger that I constantly pick and pick and pick, and I pick the nail off to the point where it's deformed now.
So now
I have a tryst for my elephant finger.
I had that made especially.
And now the audience is curious now. They want to see it. No, you can't see it.
Well, if you show them yours, I'll show you mine next to it. And
no,
mine's pretty bad.
That's not.
Mine looks like a big toe.
They look the same, man.
We had a lot of fun working together because all we did was focus on our various deformities.
Yes, that's true.
Which, when dressed up nicely, you would never know.
Like my C-section scar is worse than your C-section scar.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that was ours.
That's what we did. We compared things like that.
Now, I got to tell you, I was looking at your book. It is so hilarious.
Thank you.
Now, I've never delivered a child, but I was in the room with my wife, so all of that is fantastic.
Yeah, now, did your wife read it? And did she, because I'm like sitting here reading it, and I'm reading it, and I'm going, ew, that's disgusting, and so true.
I definitely wanted to tell the truth. I didn't think there was anything out there that was also funny and raw.
Right.
And I just was like, you know, I want to help out some preggers and make them laugh. So, if you know anybody that's pregnant, get this book for them.
Well, because
I
I wish I had had it when I was pregnant, because a lot of the stuff that happens to your body, you're too ashamed to even ask your doctor who is responsible for your care.
Right.
Because you think that it's only happening to you, so you keep it to yourself. I'm like, this can't be a good sign. No. I think I won't bring it up at my next visit.
That's so true.
It's so true, because I'm like too ashamed.
Yeah.
So because I'm on TV and I don't want the word to get out, so I go, I'm not going to mention this at all. and maybe she won't notice it either.
There's so many things that people don't talk about that actually happens to your body that leave it to me. I have to put it in a book.
Right.
But it was embarrassing, but true, and I love to remember.
Now, here's the big question. How much weight did you gain during the pregnancy?
Okay, let me tell you this.
It's in the book.
The only woman I've ever met who gained more weight than me delivering one baby. It's really true.
I was pushing, when I checked in the hospital, about 204.
Right.
I ate everything. I loved it.
204. And I was a mere flyweight at 197. So it's like, but then again, I say this. You are taller than me, so therefore I still say, theoretically, I gained more weight than you.
Not.
But listen, we're going to talk more.
HBO's on the phone. They want you guys to battle it out.
Let's have Corey Steady when we come back. Don't go away. I love you.
Still ahead on Live, a performance.
Jenny, you brought the sun to New York. Just kidding.
Lights?
Now let's talk about the fact that after you went through everything you talk about in the book, a baby was born.
Yes.
And he is stunning.
I love him more than anything in the world.
Jenny's son Evan is 2 years old.
He's so beautiful, and it's amazing when you have a baby, at least for me. My whole drive has changed, like in my career. It's like I'm not looking for a trophy. I will do anything for his future. You might see me doing a tampon commercial, for Christ's sake. If it's gonna pay for school, I'm doing it. No. Are you not feeling frustrated? Because I ain't. So I mean, I will do anything for this kid.
Hello, 3 jobs. I mean, that's like, we'll work for diapers.
Yeah, I know. Book coming out too.
Now, you're on Hope and Faith this Friday night. And thank God we followed George. You know, well, we don't follow George, but
you lead us in with like a champion.
You're the hammer. You drive us home, which is so great.
This episode is so crazy. Can I tell a little bit of it?
Yeah, please.
I plays Kelly's best friend. Best friend?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Best friend from school.
Best friend from school, and I come in, I wind up accidentally sleeping with her father. Played by Robert Wagner.
And so I decide I'm going to get even with Jenny and sleep with her father.
Played by Tony Curtis.
That's right. Now, Tony and Robert have been friends in Hollywood for 50 years.
Yeah.
They've never worked together until our show. So we had, it was really just amazing seeing these two like Hollywood legends in front of us. And then like the two of us like
hi.
Hi.
We used to watch you on Heart to Heart.
Yeah, I know.
And now I'm sucking your fingers on this episode.
It was that bad. We were talking to Rob RJ. He told us to call him RJ. And we were talking about how when we would watch Heart to Heart and he would do a shower scene, we would actually go to the front of the TV and try to peer down the front of the TV to see if we could see him naked.
Which he kind of blushed, I
He
think.
did. He blushed, and then he called his agent.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
But in the clip now is my Hollywood legend.
That's right.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, kind of.
Kind of. You'll see. Definitely in this clip, this sets up.
Take a look at Jenny. With Jenny. It's a really funny show. It's this Friday, April 30th, and you can pick up Jenny's book, Belly Laugh, out May 1st. Thank you so much for being here. I love you.
Yeah, thank you.
We've got Jennifer Hudson from American Idol coming up next. Don't go away.
Tomorrow on Live at...
Hello there. It's just me and the world's best tasting vodka.
Hey guys, welcome to again Off the Dribble with your boy Byron Scott. My guest today is my boy. This is my golf buddy. He's one of these brothers that you can call at any time, and he's there for you. And I got to tell you a little bit about a few years ago where he really was there for me.
Such a lonely life I lived, though. You know, when somebody
My
can
boy,
be there,
George Lopez. That's all I want to say.
when
My boy
somebody's
George
there
Lopez.
100% of the time, they got shit else to do except wait for the bat signal in the sky.
Well, George, before we get into your career and everything that you've done, there was a very, very tough time for both of us a few years ago.
Yeah, man.
When our buddy, Kobe Bryant, passed away. And this man, I took like 2 weeks where I wouldn't talk to nobody. And George sent me a text and said, B, I know you're hurting, but let's go play some golf or something. And I remember getting back to George. I said, George, give me another week or so. Because I was just in pain. A couple of weeks went by. I called George. I said, man, I'm ready. Let's get out and play golf. It was about a 7-hour round because we let everybody go through. We made stops. We had drinks. We celebrated Kobe Bryant's life and his achievements. And I don't think I ever got a chance to say thank you, George, because, I really appreciated that, man, and it was awesome of you to give me that call.
Well, thank you for being there for me, too, because it's, my daughter called me and said, I just like, what happened?
Yeah.
And it's, places stay forever, monuments and things in Europe you can see around the world, but that guy to us in LA and to just was a monument. And I think that he will be remembered,
Yeah.
everybody's remembered forever, but remembered every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when somebody's really important, when you remember them every day.
Yeah.
And, the happy thing about all of that is that, he had an amazing impact on a lot of people, and he did it off the court with like humor, man. And he was a funny guy, and he was a sweet guy, that. And he was a guy that, the Mamba mentality is a great, just a great 2 words to go together. It's like somebody's will, but to see somebody that did what he did and walked it and talked it. And I went to a lot of Friday night games, and they always come down to the last shot. And he made a lot of them, but the ones that he missed, nobody went, oh, he missed it. And everybody was like, okay, we didn't win. Right. But he made more than he missed. But when he missed one, nobody was disappointed.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about somebody's ability.
Yeah, you was almost shocked when he missed one. You know what I'm saying? Because he was so great at making them. And he would make them if it was 1-on-1, 2-on-1. He didn't care if they brought a double team. He was that type of guy where he was willing to be the hero, just like he was willing to be the GOAT.
Absolutely.
And that's that Mamba mentality that we talk about. But before we get going a little bit more, got to say thank you again, George, for coming out, my brother.
Cheers, man.
We're going to have a good time. A little Neff vodka in here, y'all.
Wow, that's good.
Ain't that good?
Yeah, that's really good.
So, George, let's start off this way. I want to talk to you because you've done so much. You've accomplished so many things in the entertainment world. I mean, you one of my funniest friends I've ever been around.
Thank you.
I love playing golf with this man because we have 18 holes of laughter.
Yeah,
we might get some bad shots, but we're gonna have 18 holes of laughter.
Listen, man, you're a professional athlete. I played golf because of my temperament, and golf. I didn't want to get remarried, so I didn't want somebody telling me all my faults. So I'll let golf decide what's wrong with me. So, if you cheat, you're cheating yourself.
Yeah,
if you quit, you're a quitter. If you write the wrong score down, if you're not gracious to people, if you don't say hello, and which all the things in life that are easy to do.
Right.
So it was a way for me to see what people had said about me, criticisms about me, even when I was younger, and for me to realize when there was nobody else around and nobody to blame, that those were the real issues that I had about writing down the wrong score, integrity, cheating, moving the ball, and all of those things are someone's real life. It brings it out. So, it changed my life. And then, I used to get really mad and throw a club or something, I'm no Reggie Bush, but that dude.
Reggie be throwing them all over the place, don't he?
Listen, man, I played in Cedric's golf tournament and clubs were flying all over the place. And then Cedric called my house and said, hey, have you seen a club in your bag? Reggie's missing a club. I said, have you checked in the trees and in the bushes? I mean, if you throw a club, man, if you throw a club, that says a lot about when you want to throw one and you don't, now you're starting to internalize your things and to be better.
There you go.
And that's what golf has done for me. Like, I play pretty good. I play all those pro-ams. I mean, I can play good. I putt good. Short game's good. But I play for the temperament and the peace. Why does somebody go to the beach and watch a sunset? Because they go for the peace.
Yeah.
And there's a tranquility in that. And for me, there's tranquility in golfing and, being a member at that club and knowing that most of the other Latinos that are there are like the service staff and all those guys. That means a lot to me too.
Yeah, no, I mean, and first of all, it's a great track, great club.
Yeah,
and I appreciate the invites when we get a chance to play.
But you remember, we've known each other a long time, and
yes, we have.
The Lakers have meant so much to me in my life, and you as a player in the '80s was a time when I spent a lot of time alone, and my grandparents were still alive, and I was such a fan, but I was always alone. That in those Boston Celtics or in those championships, in those finals, when it got down to the crunch time, I would go outside. Like an expectant father would leave the room. I can't take it anymore. Outside smoking a cigarette. I couldn't take it.
Really?
I'm not playing.
So when you would go outside, you would go out to get away from watching the game because it was coming down to the nitty gritty, and you couldn't stand to see what was going to happen.
I couldn't watch.
Wow.
I would go outside in the backyard and I'd walk around, and then I would come back in and they would say they won. Oh, they won, all right. I said, oh, they lost. The pass that Magic threw across the court, I was outside.
Yeah,
I was outside when it happened.
Don't remind me.
But I was, I would say to myself, like, what's going to happen? I didn't know until later is that what's going to happen is going to happen whether I was watching or not.
Right.
But at that point, and it's a lot to do with Mexicans. You ever see Mexicans go to the church? The ones that are sitting in the back still want it to count, but they don't want the Lord that close. Like, they're like, listen, man, I do a lot of things in my life that aren't.
I do a lot of shit, so I don't want to sit too close.
Don't go in this place, but I'm going to still go. But I'm going to sit way in the back. Where the place they don't even go with the money thing. Like, I probably got no money sitting back there. So I just go in the back. You still get credit for going, but you're not as close to the gospel as somebody would feel comfortable enough.
Well, you stupid.
So
listen. So
I cussed in church one time, and
did you really?
Oh, man!
Did, like, more than one person heard you?
Yes.
Okay. So a few people heard
and
you.
You know those movies where they go, all the heads turn, and it makes a sound, and every head. And I said, what? I said, man, you cussed in church. No. And
so you almost did it again.
I almost did, man. I was like, I can't believe I cussed in church. And then my grandma, that was it for me. My grandma said, hey, come over here and tell when you cussed in church. That's not a long time ago. But, yeah, nobody should cuss in church.
No, I agree with you there. So how did you get started in the comedy? Where did was you like doing shows at the house for the family? How did you get started in comedy?
Man, that's a good question. Let's see. I think at first you have to be ignored. So my biological family was not a close family, and they ignored me a lot. My mom was not married, and my dad took off, and I was insignificant from even before I was born. So much less, and my mom was not well health-wise. She had epilepsy, and she had, a couple of things that made people believe that before I was born, that I was going to be, and listen, I've never said this word before, never told a story before. They thought I was going to be an imbecile. That's what they said. An imbecile. So they wouldn't hold me, and they wouldn't kind of look after me because they thought that I was going to get what she had. And the word imbecile is pretty harsh, man. And as a kid, my grandmother would sit, they would say to my grandmother, or when my mom was around when I was young, they would say, don't tell him that. And my grandmother would say, well, how else is he going to find out? If I don't tell, the things that were said in anger. Listen, nobody bullshits in anger.
Right.
So when somebody's angry and they're yelling at you.
It's coming from the heart.
Everything.
It's coming from the heart.
Listen, when somebody's shooting you with a gun, all those bullets have intention. When somebody's saying, "Listen, I don't know where that guy is. I don't know who your father is. And you ever thought you're gonna be an imbecile over there? Want to hold you, and your mom it takes off, and they can't find her for weeks, and you're just like a 6-year-old kid, man. You're like, I'm 6, but I don't think I need to hear all this. So we went to court when I was 7 to have my father declared legally dead.
Really?
So my mom was not the smartest woman. So my grandmother said, now here's another one I never told anybody. My grandmother said, Mira, Frida, look at me, and I'll tell you what to answer. So
in court.
In court.
Okay.
In LA, the municipal court.
Wow.
Mira, look at me, and I'll tell you what to answer. And she gets up there, and she puts her hand up, and she gets into the thing, and they say, are you seeking the sole custody of George Lopez? And my mom looks, and my grandmother says, and she goes, no.
I thought she was supposed to answer.
And she said, and she goes, no. And then she's like, Frida! And she looks and she goes, yes. Was it no or yes? Now it's a you have, is it no or yes? And then now somebody who's not that smart has to pick between no and yes, like with no help. So she said yes. But for a minute there, it was like, what the fuck's going on, man? Like, and she had to answer the other questions on her own without, because they knew my grandmother was helping her.
Right.
So that was, listen, man, that was rough.
Wow.
That was, sorry about your ears, dude. but yeah. So it's like that. So that's how you start, like, in the humor. I think that I had good guys that I went to school with, and they all lived kind of in that 3-block radius of guys that are still my friends. But when I was, I started playing baseball. I wasn't even 7 yet, and my grandma signed me up for baseball. And then you go to the tryouts, and I was already playing baseball as like a little kid, I guess. And then they went to this recreational center in San Fernando. They were picking teams. I was the last guy picked. And then the guy says, but last but not least, and then they picked me. And I was on a team 1 up. Like, I was, for my age, I should have been on the lower. That was 1 up.
Got you.
So when I was going to practice with that team, the White Sox, they wanted me to be a catcher. And I wasn't even 7, and I was giving the coach a hard time about me being a catcher. And I was already complaining, and I was already saying, I don't want to be a catcher. And he sent me down to the farm, and that team never lost a game, and they won the championship. And in my whole career playing baseball, I never won a championship. And I thought it was because of me being an asshole at 7 and getting sent down, that I was punished for not being a fair sport, or understanding that sometimes everybody has to play a part on a team.
You play a role. Yeah.
And the coach told me that. It's like, hey, listen, man, everybody has a position to play, and yours is catcher. And I just bitched so much that he sent me down. And then I went down to the Bears, and Alex Garcia, that boxer that boxed probably 20 years ago, he was on my team. And I remember tagging a guy out at second base, and I was catching. So imagine the catcher running across from home plate to second base. And that's how bad that team was, that I had to go as the catcher and tag
you couldn't throw it to the guy at the second base.
He wouldn't have caught it. So I ran across the field to tag him out at second base in full catcher's gear. So I should have stayed a catcher because I was pretty good. But then, my grandparents and I, you went to a lot of Dodger games, and the guys that I grew up with were funny, and I was funny around them, but I was shy. I think if you're going to be a good comedian or good at anything, you have to have a lot of things wrong with you in the beginning. So being shy and around other people, but being funny around my friends was at least an opening to something for the future. But finding comedy, I think, through the Tonight Show and through sitcoms, watching Sanford and Son, and watching Chico and the Man, and Cheech and Chong albums, Richard Pryor albums, and George Carlin, and all those things. And then, when I was in junior high, my friend Ernie went to another school, and he said, hey, there's a guy at Kennedy High School, and he's going to the Comedy Store on Monday nights, and he's doing stand-up. And I'm like, he goes, we ought to go down there. So in 79, June 4th of 1979, I was still in high school, getting ready to graduate. And I went over there and performed for the first time.
Wow. So how was that? I mean, because you're still in high school. Because I was going to ask you, where'd you get your start? But this seems like a little bit of a start, because you're going to do stand-up for the first time out of high school. And then from there, I want you to tell me the experience of doing that. How was that first? And then from there, when did you get your first job as a comedian?
First job, at the Ice House in Pasadena, you could do, if you brought people, you could make like $1 a person, So,
so as many people in the audience
like
as how much you get?
$7. Oh, yeah. And in 1987, before my grandfather died, I was on TV just for maybe 40 seconds, one joke in this kind of like laughing kind of reboot. And my grandfather saw me. And my grandfather really never had anything good to say about me. But one time I was on a Sunday, they went to eat with some friends. And when they came back, I had a picture there from the Ice House. And then the guy said, who's this? And he goes, my grandfather said, oh, that's my grandson is trying to be a comedian. And the guy said, is he funny? And he says, no, but he's just starting.
What great support! Right?
I thought that was the beginning. What could have been the beginning of a compliment.
Right.
So even through those track home walls, I could hear. But he never said anything really good to me. So I think as sad as it is, and as debilitating, and as much as it hurts, if you stay down, then you stay down. Mm-hmm. And whatever it was in me, man, that made me get up. I knew I didn't want to stay down.
Yeah.
And not that those guys that I grew up with were nobodies.
Right.
I just said to somebody, I wanted to be somebody more than I wanted to be nobody. And, I never expected much of a career because, I always say, when you look like Mario Lopez, you can make it. But when you look like me, you got to be talented. So for that, I just, at some point, I quit. One time I was at this place called the Natural Fudge in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And they made you buy like a sandwich in there. So it's a natural food store. So they bring me like a sandwich with sprouts and avocado. And this is like in the early 80s, 80, 81. And they did comedy on a Monday night. And I bombed so bad. Imagine waiting 3 hours and then bombing. It's like, and you couldn't have let me bomb at 8:15. You had to let me bomb after waiting 3 hours. And when I was driving home, right at the 170 and Roscoe on the way north to where I live with my grandmother, I started crying in the car. And I said, I'm done. Like, I can't do this. I'm not good at it. It hurts. I've had it. And then I went home and I took a shower. My grandma says, why are you taking a shower so late? And I was I'm taking a shower. And I took a shower because I wanted to wash off whatever had gotten on me from that experience of just eating it big time.
I understand that.
And I took a shower.
Yeah.
And then in the morning when I got up, I said I wasn't going to quit and I was going to keep going.
Yeah.
So
I want to ask you this though, George, because every time we play golf, like I said, we have a unbelievable time of laughing. We laugh the whole time. Tell them call you back.
I know, man. Let me turn this off. Sorry.
That's all right. We have an unbelievable time of just laughter, right? And you tell some of the unbelievable stories, some of the greatest stories about your grandmother.
Right.
So kind of tell me, obviously she means the world to you, but just tell me how she has helped you from your childhood to this particular point, because I love the stories on the golf course when you start talking about her.
Man, God, there's so many. When my first show started, Time Magazine wrote a thing on me, the one page in like the showbiz part of the back of Time. And it said that that I should consider my grandmother my muse because of me using her in the show and using her in the stand-up to make a living for myself. So the guy goes, I don't know if he's aware that this woman is the muse that he has, but she she had a hard life. She had dementia and she was at the hospital. So they told me, your grandma's in the hospital. So I go to Holy Cross in Mission Hills and she has dementia. And she's in this little room and I walk in and she had a way of looking at me that was like just a threatening way. So she's laying in the bed and I walk in and I'm standing right there and she's looking at me like this. And I'm like, to myself, I'm like, is my grandmother throwing me hard looks? Right. So I look at her, I'm like this. So she's looking at me and I'm looking at her like that. And my grandmother goes like that too. Come on, man. Come on.
Now, how old was she at this time?
85.
Wanted to make sure you didn't flinch on her.
Oh my God. What the, come on, man. A lady with dementia like that. But my grandmother was, they wore abuse like if it was a banner, like I was with this guy 19 years and he beat me and I stayed for my kids. And I said, why do you stay for your kids? Why don't you go to a hotel? And she goes, you don't know nothing. I didn't have any money. I said, hotels were like a dime back then. Shut up. So she didn't want any kind of opinion about her life. So my grandfather on Fridays, he'd get off early sometimes. They'd finish early, and he wouldn't get out of the truck right away. And my grandma would look through the window.
He's scared to go in the house?
They're drinking in the car for hours. Go tell them to come in. I walk out there. I go, Grandma wants you to come inside. They like it to wait. All right. So I say, he told me to tell you to wait. So what did he say? So she started to make chile, that was her retaliation. So they had that mocajete, the thing, and the stone grinder. And because he would eat when he was drunk before he went to bed. So she said, if I make this chile really hot, it's my way of getting back to him. I can't poison him. I can't go out. And it's no wonder that she didn't go out there and say, get your ass inside.
Right.
So she would be grinding this chili. And I would come from baseball practice, and I would come through the cul-de-sac there, and I would see the truck there, and I'd see him inside, like at 8:30. And I would say, uh-oh. So I already knew. So I'd open the gate, and I would take 3 steps, maybe 20 feet from the house, and that chili would be in the air. And before I would walk into the house, I would go, it was just in the air. Because when it's so hot, you can't stand around. And my grandmother would be inside, and I'd go, and she would say, he doesn't want to come inside, man. And she's just like grinding this thing, man. So her retaliation was chile for him, and she just never pulled any punches, man. And the first day of my show, you grow up and you want to be a comedian, and she knows. And it's a long shoot because the first show is always long, And then I look over there, and she's kind of looking off outside. We're going down the 5 freeway, and she's kind of wandering off, looking off. And I'm like, at least say something to me, I got this show.
Right.
So I said, literally, man, you got to believe me. I said, what do you think, Grandma? And she goes, you want to know? And I said, yeah, I want to know. And she says, if I would have known it was going to take this long, I would have stayed home. I mean, come on, man. Your whole life, man. Right? I don't know if I would take this long, I would have stayed home. And, my mom character was based off my grandmother.
I was about to ask.
And my grandmother watches the show, and she goes, And I said, what do you think? She goes, hey, you made me nice. That's what she said. Everybody said.
Because I was going to ask you that. The George Lopez show.
Yeah.
Which I
almost 20 years now.
Yeah, I loved that show. I mean, I used to watch that show, and I was like, all right, I'm wondering, because we knew each other. And I'm wondering, is this but we didn't talk about our upbringing and things of that nature. So I was wondering if that show was based on your upbringing, a little bit of the family.
Totally.
That was kind of intertwined into that whole thing. But it was also one of the first, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first Mexican sitcoms on a major network at the time.
There's a couple of things, I was selling out a bunch of shows at the amphitheater. I think I sold out 22 in a row. And they came and wrote an article in the Daily News about me. And I had never thought about what this guy wrote. This guy said that, George Lopez pays homage to the people that inspired him, Freddie Prinze and Richard Pryor. But Richard Pryor or Freddie Prinze never sold those amount of tickets to have people come and see him. But he still does. But I still pay homage to those guys.
Right,
Richard Pryor toured, but he it's back then. So in comparison, but it's I still pay respect to the people that came before me when to that writer had passed them. But I would never consider myself better than those guys. But in those shows, what was I going to say? So that was one example. And then in the history of television, I Love Lucy, Desi Arnaz was the husband, but not in the title. Chico and the Man with Freddie Prinze was a co-star, not in the title. I'm the only person in the history of television who's Latino who's led a show and it's named after him. So it's higher than those guys. But I still think of it as, it's like not as important. But Freddie Prinze, when the 100th episode of my show was coming, Johnny Grant, who used to be the mayor of Hollywood, he said, I was at another star ceremony. He said, I think it's time we put you in the Walk of Fame. And I said, I'm not going in until Freddie Prinze goes in.
Wow.
And he looks at his assistant. He says, Freddie Prinze is in, isn't it? She says, I don't know. I said, no, he's not. We'll check and we'll get back to you. So they got back to me and they said, he's not in, but if you want to nominate him, we can put him in. And I said, yeah, I want to put him in. And I paid the money for the star. I think it was $10,000. And then the day of the ceremony, Kathy, Freddie Prinze Jr., the people, Dusty Snyder, who was with him in the room when he committed suicide, and all the friends that Freddie had, even some from New York, were all there. Della Reese was there, and all these great people, man. And then Freddie Jr., I see him over there on the phone, and he walks up to me and he goes, hey, my grandma wants to talk to you, which is Freddie's mom. And she was in Puerto Rico. And I said, hello? And she goes, oh, George, thank you so much for being so loving to my Freddie. She said, my Freddie. Thank you for being a fan of my Freddie and for being loving to my Freddie. And then she said, if my Freddie was alive, you and my Freddie would be best friends. And I was like, oh my God, man, this is like tough. So we did the ceremony, man, and Junior was very emotional, and at the unveiling of the star. But for a dude that had zero integrity, zero credibility, zero ability to tell the truth, and zero care for anybody else but myself, I grew up to have eliminated all of those things from my life. I'm not who I was when I was 25. I'm not who I was when I was 15. And at 60, I'm a person that I never would have imagined I would be.
Man, you know what? I think we both there, because I never would imagine me being who I am right now. You know what I mean, George?
Cheers to that.
So listen, guys, we're going to take a quick little break. We'll be right back with a little bit more of my boy, George Lopez, and we'll talk a little bit more again about his career and where he is today and what's up next for him. We'll be right back. Black Widow is a conglomerate of attorneys and investigators that are community-based. They started from a personal traumatic loss that turned into a platform for human dignity and rights. Black Widow always finds ways to eradicate the wrongs and produce positive results beyond all boundaries, and they always pay it forward. Black Widow can handle any and all legal matters, including motorcycle injuries, car accidents, trips and falls, criminal matters, family law, workers' compensation, and restraining orders, and more. In all industries where money rules and basics give rights are overcome by greed, we strive to make it about humanity by repeatedly educating and informing the masses of their rights. If you have ever felt frustrated or anger that you have been done wrong, that's the fire that fuels Black Widow. When you are done listening to all the rest, call Black Widow for the blunt truth. Call 818-599-3613. Again, that's 818-599-3613. Or you can find us on Instagram at BlackWidow_investigation. Right. Welcome back to Off the Dribble. Your boy B. Scott is here. And again, I'm with my boy George Lopez. We've been having a great time. Just
pretty good.
Talking about the old days. Talking about golf. Talking about all the things that we love. I want to get to now the George Lopez show.
Yeah.
And how that came upon you.
Man.
And then, man, I mean, that thing, took off as well and lasted for a long time. And then I want to also know, why did you kind of stop?
Okay.
I know you wanted to go in different directions. I know how you are. You're artistic. You want to do other things. But let's talk about the George Lopez show.
First of all, I never thought that I would have my own show. Mm-hmm. And then you grow up watching Johnny Carson. Mm-hmm. And I was in Las Vegas, I think 1989, in the summer of 89 or 90. Johnny Carson was going to retire. Mm. And, I love Willy Wonka, like growing up, Mm-hmm. So in the USA Today, in the Life section, there's a comedian on the cover story, this guy Ron Schock, I think he passed away. And in the article it says that before Johnny leaves, they're going to have 6 new comedians on. Mm. So I'm in Vegas in the Maxim Nowhere Going show. And I remember reading that, and I remember thinking, man, it's like Willy Wonka, man. Like there's 6 golden tickets out there. Mm-hmm. Like who's going to get them? Mm-hmm. Never thinking I would get one. So I was at the Improv one night, and the talent booker for the Tonight Show sees me and says, "Hey, put some stuff together, man, and call me in a week." And I was like, "Wow, it's not gonna happen, man." So I put some stuff together. I worked all week. I'd fall asleep on the notes and get up, and then do them again and fall asleep and get up. Worked on a week. So he says, "Come to my office." So I go to his office, and he goes, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "Am I ready?" And he goes, "Yeah." He's sitting behind the desk. He goes, "Show me your stuff." I was like,
That's on the spot.
and I did it, with no laughter. The guy didn't laugh. Talking, the guy's looking at me. Say another one is looking at me. He's like, When I was done, he goes, "Congratulations, you got the Tonight Show."
Are you serious?
Yeah. He didn't. He just made sounds. He goes, "You didn't laugh." He goes, "Hey, if I make a sound, that's like a laugh." Because I've had people up here complete silence, and Bill Cosby bumped me in '91, and then I thought it was going to go away because there was stories about guys getting bumped and then never getting called back. So I got bumped, and then the next day they called, and I was on the next week. So in a sense, that was kind of like a beginning. But for the George Lopez show, I was drinking a lot from 95 to 99. I was on the road a lot, and I was going nowhere, and I was drinking a lot. I think my wife had kicked me out of the house. I was living in this apartment that we hadn't sold yet, some condo, sleeping on an air mattress. And then mine was probably like 4. And in the crib, I didn't dismantle the crib when we left because it was still there. So I had to see the empty room with a crib in there. And I'm sleeping on the, I remember I bought a toaster, and I'm like, can I afford to buy a toaster? And I just was like, man, this is like nowhere. I'm nowhere. And I used to worry about what everybody else was doing. And then in that condo there, empty, I started thinking, you know what, man, I'm going to worry less about what everybody's doing. I'm just going to worry about myself. Because I'm worried about everybody else, and look where I am. I'm living in this thing. And people would see me, and they go, "I thought you moved." I was like, "Oh, no, we're doing some work up here, renovations. Got to fill up the mattress every night." But when I did that, things started to, you could feel a change. But also, I was at the Capital City Comedy Club, and Chappelle had been there the week before, and Sandra Bullock had come to see Chappelle. Sandra Bullock had a house in Austin, Texas. And then the manager comes to me after the first show and goes, "Hey, man, I got a call. I think Sandra Bullock's coming to the show." And I knew that I was not in condition or even professional enough as a comedian. I was drinking on stage, that it wouldn't have been entertaining. And the second shows are always like, half full, first one full. So I literally got on my knees in the dressing room and begged God to keep her from coming to the show. I got on my knees and I went like this, and I said, "If you're up there, please don't let her come and see me."
Wow.
And then the guy knocks while the second show started. He goes, and I open the door. He goes, "She's not coming, man. She called, and she's not going to come after all."
Wow.
So cut to like 2 years later, I get a call, and they said, "Hey, man, there's producers looking for a Latino, comedian and something." So everybody said, "Have you seen George Lopez?" So this guy came to see me, and he was working for Sandra, but I didn't know at the time. And then he saw me, and he went away. And then I remember Ann said, "Did you talk to the guy?" And I said, "No, he left." A full calendar year later, the guy calls, and he said, "Hey, are you still interested in this project that we have?" And I'm like, "What project?" And we found out it was Sandra. So I went to Sandra's office during the day. I wasn't going to go. I was hitting golf balls at Whitsett, and I was supposed to be there at 1. I think my manager knew that I might flake out. So about 12:15, he calls me. He goes, "Are you on your way?" And I said, "Man, I'm not going over there, man." He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "What's she going to do for me? What's Sandra Bullock going to do for me?" And he goes, "Hey, listen, man, they called and they said, is he coming? They ordered food." With him, it was always food. They ordered food. You better go over there, man. You're not going to leave her hanging. So I left the balls there at a big bucket, left them there, told the guy, "Hey, man, you can have these if you want." And I drove over there. And we sat for like 3 hours. You know, she said, "Tell me about your life," and you know, she was crying, she was laughing into my grandmother and everything. You know, and she was writing it all down. Had a writer's assistant, and as we're walking down the stairs, she walked me out, and we got to she opened the door for me, and before I left, I looked at her and I said, "Hey, I don't know how this is going to end up. I don't know if I ever see you again, or I don't know anything. I just want to say thank you for thinking of me, and thank you for what we're going to try to do, whether it happens or not. Just thank you."
Right.
And she looked at me and she goes, "I want you to worry about being funny, and I want you to let me worry about everything else." And I got in the car and I was like, wow, man. It's like nobody ever said anything like that to me. So in the midst of the next year, the president of Warner Brothers came to see me, and he was in. You know, he's like, "I'm in." And then we were going to take the show, and then the president of ABC came to see me and sat next to the president of Warner Brothers at the Ice House. And I did 25 minutes, and I told the dude, "Give me the light at 20." And I was killing him, man. Killing him. And he gives me the light, and almost like a boxer that knows that if he gets to the end of the fight, that he's won. So I was digging in a little bit, then I was kind of cruising at the end, and I knew what I had at the end. And when the light flicked on and off like that, it's like time, and I left, and the people were going crazy, man. And before I left the stage, before that guy got to me, in my head I thought, you just got yourself a television show. But I didn't know.
Right.
And then the next day I flew to Houston, and I got picked up by this dude in a town car, and Bruce called me, and he goes, he did Drew Carey, you know, he was my partner. And he said, "Are you sitting down?" I'm like, "I'm just got in Houston." He goes, "ABC called, and you know, they want to do the show. Congratulations." I was like, wow, man. So we hung up, and I told the driver, "Hey, man, I just got a show on ABC." Dude he didn't turn around. He didn't say congratulations. He didn't say. He
just kept driving.
Didn't go, "Hey, good for you." Just kept driving. So that's how it came about. And then, you know, that show was so real. Like in the early '80s, I got a DUI, and I got put in Foothill Jail, and I got taken to Van Nuys and got arraigned. So when they take you on that sheriff's bus, I don't know if the sheriffs knew to pass by every place that was important to me in my life, but they passed by houses I used to go party at, houses that friends had, restaurants where I used to go, and I'm sitting there, I'm chained to some other dude, and I'm like, are these guys fucking, are they, is my grandmother driving this bus? They're going by my schools, they're going by my high school. I'm like, what the heck? Like, I'm on like a Starline tour. I'm like, man, this is getting depressing, man.
Farewell to her.
I said,
going by all the shit I used to do.
Oh, I said, this is depressing. So they throw you in the tank up there. They're getting ready to call you, and the door opens, and they bring in some guys with like the orange jumpsuits from county jail. So I'm sitting down, and I'm looking down, and then somebody sits next to me, and he's wearing those jail sandals, you know. And I look down, and the guy's toes are painted red. And I'm like, this dude's got painted red toes. And I look up, and he's got blonde hair. He's a Latino guy, big guy, and he's got blonde hair, like a you know, cross-dresser. And I look down, I'm like, oh, man. And the sheriff comes to the door, and he goes, "Lopez." And I stood up, and I guess the dude's name was Lopez. And he stood up, and the sheriff goes, "No, Mrs. Lopez." And I sat down, and the dude left. And I put that in the show, word for word. Like, I tried to keep it as real as I could. I used real names of my teachers.
Right.
But I don't think it gets any more real than that. We did that in that
Miss
episode.
Lopez.
Miss Lopez. Oh, man. Hilarious.
So the show was a hit. I mean, the George Lopez show, you know, the Tonight Show.
Syndication was good. Yeah, syndication's still there, almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And then I was still married. I decided to take a year off. And then it was just tough to be home. You know, I hadn't been home, you know, in 10 years, you know. So I got offered a chance to, you know, do a talk show. So I did that for a couple of years. And in that, I got divorced. But, you know, I made friends with my wife. I saw her yesterday, and ex-wife, and she goes, "I just want us to be friends." I go, "That's new," and but she's cool, man. And I didn't talk to her for a long time, but it was my fault that everything happened the way it happened.
Right.
But somehow, instead of being mad at myself, I became kind of mad at her. But that's all gone.
Yeah, that's something that's something that George and I have in common. So we did talk a little bit on that golf course about us going through divorces and things of that nature, and how we've kind of moved on. But I also want to ask you about the producing part that you've gotten into.
Yeah.
You've done the stand-up, and I also want to know, are you going to go back and do one more stand-up gig or anything like that?
I don't know, man.
I think that would be so cool.
With dementia running in the family, it's harder to remember that stuff. I did the Netflix special was the first one I had done not live, and I didn't like the way I like to do them live.
Yeah,
but they're risky to do them live. But I thought, how can you make comedy harder? Is to not use water, not have a towel, and to do it live. But the older I get, 60, the older I get, I think it gets harder to remember the hour. And sometimes in a default, if you forget your place, you'll go back to stuff that you already had done. And live, you want to keep it, legit. So, but
I feel you there.
Yeah, but producing was new to me. And then, I just felt like, some guys want big parts. I just felt like, and I told my agents, like, hey, man, don't look at parts like big parts. Just look at parts as like good parts.
Right.
And then I started to do animation. And I remember the Beverly Hills Chihuahua, the first time I did any voice work. My agent said, all the good parts are taken, but if you want this part, it's 4 lines, $10,000. I said, 4 lines. So I said, I'm not sure. So she calls, she goes, I want to know if you're doing it. You're doing it. If not, they're going to move on. And I said, you know what? I'll do it. And I remember getting there 5 minutes late, and I meet this director, Raja Gosnell, and I look over, and Drew Barrymore's in there. And I'm like, what the fuck is Drew Barrymore doing in here? And I said, oh, she's the girl dog. So I'm like, are you ready to start? I'm like, yeah. And the first thing I did is I sang to Drew Barrymore in the movie The Dog's in Love with the Chloe, which is Drew Barrymore. And I had to sing to her. And the guy's like, there's not a song, so just, make it up. And
just make it up on the fly.
I made it like my heart, you're my heart, my soul. And I'm like, if there's ever a time you need anybody to lick inside your ears or to, I would be most honored,
See, I'm forgetting you were a dog.
I was a dog. And after they go cut, and she put both hands on it. She goes, oh my God, that's so sweet. Oh my God. And that was the first time they'd ever heard that voice in that dog. And then when I was done, the director came outside and he goes, listen, man, we haven't shot like most of the movie yet. So would you be willing to come in and just you and I work on stuff? And as we film the dog, I'll make the stuff fit to the dog. And I said, absolutely. And because I didn't say no, it was only 4 lines where I would have said no. That led to the 3 Beverly Hills Chihuahuas, the 2 Smurfs, the 2 Rios, Marmaduke, and Escape from Planet Earth. All of the movies came from that one seed. So, as people want to be stars or want to be producers or want to be in the light, never say no, man, because a seed that small can bring you a tree, with the proper care.
No, that's good advice, because like you said, you're turning down those small roles thinking there's something better and bigger is going to come along.
Everybody would have said no. Everybody would have said no to that. And I went.
That was cool. George, I want to go back, and we talked about this a little bit off the camera during our break, and I was telling you about the movie that you were in with Ty Diggs, and I couldn't remember the name, and it was
River Runs Red.
River Runs Red, where you had a much more serious part, because everybody knows you as a comedian. Everybody knows, your stand-up and the Lopez show, the Tonight Show. They all know that. But I don't know how many people, and I'm sure it was a lot, but I know for me, when I first saw that and saw you in that role, I was like, damn, because you were really good.
Yeah, thank you.
And how was that for you? Because, again, you're going from being a comedian to a very serious role. How was that for you?
I did Balls of Fury like in 2007 with the Reno 911 guys, and I was pretty much like the straight guy, but just very calm, And I thought in some dudes like Jim, those guys that are bigger actors, like they're big. I wasn't a broad actor, I was good at being just, more deadpan. So when Wes Miller, that director, African-American director, said, I got something for you, and I said, I'd already done a couple parts that were dramatic, and Tay was in that thing, and I was like, I'll do it. Yeah, that's cool. And, I had lost a friend to a police officer shooting. So if you look as an actor, like, I remember Ben Kingsley told me on my talk show that every experience that he's had, and he was neglected as a child, like he went into a bottle, put all my bad experiences in the bottle. And whenever I need them, I open the bottle and I take one out, and then I put the cap back on and I save it for the next time. So he used all the experiences as in his life to make him the actor that he is, like the dramatic part. He would remember things, and I did that. Cried on cue. About losing a child, and Tay had lost a child, and I had immediate chemistry with him. And my show had already been out forever. I mean, so we're in Louisville, Kentucky, and we're shooting this scene in the car, and I'm driving, and the movie trailer's in front of us, and they're filming us. And he says, so I want you guys to drive around, and you're looking for the police. Like, we're looking for the guys. We're going like a Western. We're going after these two police officers. So we're driving, and we're going under the bridge, and we're going around the town. And he goes, keep going, guys. You're all right. Look around. And we go under this underpass, and there's a homeless guy walking with a push cart and all his stuff, and he's got a hoodie over his head that's hanging like hair, and he's just pushing his cart. And as we drive under the underpass, he looks over, and as we pass him, he goes, George Lopez. And when we stop, everybody gets out, and they come over to the car, and they go, did that guy yell George Lopez? And I go, he did. The homeless guy yelled your name? How did he know? How did he know it was you? I go, I don't know. Maybe I got a TV in the car. I don't know. But I mean, of all, and it's never just George. It's always
George Lopez. Yeah.
And it's been pretty wild, man. But that, in doing those dramatic parts, I did a thing, No Man's Land, dramatic, and then River Runs Red, and then I did this one. Oh my God! So. Whether people believe in the universe, or they believe in karma, or if they believe in kindness, that's up to people. That's up to the individual to decide.
Absolutely. So
I did this thing, man, like the world's greatest dog, like most amazing dog, for Facebook. And I was leaving, and everybody was like, why are you doing this thing, man? I was like, I don't know. It was Lisa Vanderpump. I wanted to hang out with Lisa Vanderpump. She's great. So when I'm leaving, this girl is there, and she's dressed kind of like a guy, and she's got a hat on, and she's got her brother with her. And I get in the SUV, and the window rolls up, and I look, and they're both standing there, but kind of like really kind of meek, And I roll the window down, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, George Lopez? And I said, yeah. He goes, oh. So I go, hang on. I get out of the car. And I talked to her, what are you guys doing? And she goes, oh, I'm like a little filmmaker. I'm trying to make this film about my life, about coming out to my dad on my prom night. And, I wrote it already. And it's funny, man, because my brother and I were just talking about you. Like, you would be the best person to play my dad. And then here you are. And I said, well, listen, I'll give you my number. I'll give you my email. And if you get to the point where you make this thing, I said, let me know. I'll be your father. I'll play your father. So about a year later, she calls to have the money, and schedule-wise, they're trying to work out. So I went to this place in like Chatsworth, this house, and I played her dad in this little movie that got on HBO Max, and it got in the LA Film Festival.
Wow.
So, like 3 weeks ago, I got a call from my agent, and he said, hey, man, I've been working on this thing for a couple of years, and it's starting to come together. So tomorrow at 1:30, I have a call set up for you and the director of this project. And he goes, there's no script, and it's very private, and nobody knows anything about it. But he wants to talk to you. So I said, all right. So the next day, at 1:30. I call this dude a Latino guy, Angel Miguel Soto, I believe. And he's like, "Hey, brother, what's happening?" I said, "Oh, good, man. What's going on?" So we talk about our lives, talk about growing up. And he says to me, "Yeah, man, you know, I saw you in this little movie like you were a dad." And I thought, River Runs Red, you know. And he goes, no, about the girl that came out on her prom night. "Oh, yeah, at last." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I saw you in that." He goes, I had a project, an animated project at the LA Film Festival, but I was going to see other shorts, and I saw you. And he goes, I cried. Like, I was like, oh, my God. So the next day they made me an offer. So DC, Marvel, DC is coming out with the first Latino superhero. So it's the producer, writer, and director, all Latinos. And that guy's the director of it. So he says, you know, there's no script. It's called The Blue Beetle. The kid from Cobra Kai is playing the Blue Beetle. So, you know, it's all very private. It was going to be on HBO Max only. And then Warner Brothers saw the script. They saw the people involved. So it has a release date of August 2023. So I got cast to be the uncle in the Blue Beetle. So I'm going to be the uncle in the Blue Beetle series, which nobody knows about yet.
Oh, wow. And that's going to be on Netflix, or is that going to be?
No, it's going to be released. It'll be a worldwide release.
Oh, wow.
Because it's DC. So when they sent the offer, there's an offer for one movie, and then under it, there's 10 more offers for other.
Wow. So you said the kid from Cobra Kai
is going to be the
Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm
That's
the
so
uncle.
cool.
And I'm the uncle in the Blue Beetle.
That is so cool, George.
Which is big, man. I mean,
Man,
you know,
that is
I've had
so
quite a
cool.
career, but to get involved in the DC universe is big. Batman.
Yeah.
And I think
yeah.
Batman is in our movie, but
Yeah.
it's a big, big deal.
Yeah. DC got everybody.
And
all the
nobody knows
superheroes, man.
right now but you guys.
Well, there you go. See, that's what's happened when you're watching Off the Dribble with Byron Scott. You get stuff like this from George Lopez. You get the first of everything. You get it way before you even hit the presses. See, that's what it's all about. George, I mean, we talked about your producing. We talked about you as a comedian, drama, you know, just unbelievable actor, what you have meant to the Latino community. Yeah. How important is
Which
that
I don't
to
know.
you?
I don't know if what I've met to the Latino community. You know,
Come on, man. Come on now. I mean,
You know,
all the things you've done. Come on now.
well, I know what they've meant to me, and I think, you know, I think what they've meant to me is it might be the first family I ever had. Of all those people that come up to you and say, "Hey man, we saw you in this," or "My daughter loves you," or if you look at YouTube, every time they play Lowrider, like a little kid is jumping up and down the bed, like they know my face. Like this little kid was taking a walk and with his dad, and the kid's got to be 4 years old. And there's a van with my picture on it, and the little kid walks over, and his dad says, "Where you going?" And he goes over to the van, and he points at my picture, and he goes, "George Lopez." And the dad is like, how does this 4-year-old kid know who you are?
That's right, yeah.
And, you know, I was always mad at everything, and I was always just negative about myself and about my upbringing. But through just that one time in that day where you're down, I mean, you can only go down worse. But I decided to not worry about everybody else and worry about myself. And that was the day that I think everything, you know, if you go one day without wishing anybody ill, then makes the next day easier. So when I turned that page and went to being not the most positive person, but not wishing anybody any harm or any bad things to happen to them. And, you know, I had grown up around Buddhist temples, you know, my whole life. And then I met the Dalai Lama like in 2012 or 10. And then I spoke at his 80th birthday party. So those guys and that thing really helped me just, you know, since I cussed in church, I don't think I was welcome back. So I think that, you know, just the principles of being kind really made kind of the universe spin my way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had another question for you though, and you, we're the same age, so you grew up in the hood like I did, and at our time, there was a whole lot of gangs,
Ooh.
Crips and Bloods, the Essays, Sunshine Crips, the Pyrus, How did you avoid? I know how I did. Obviously you did as well with laughter and things of that
But did
nature.
they leave you alone because you could ball?
Yes.
Yeah.
The reason the Crips and Blood would leave me alone when I was in high school, I would be coming home and they would stop us, because we always traveled like 6 or 7 of them anyway, because we wanted to make sure we protected ourselves.
Right.
But when they would jump out the car and surround you,
Man.
it's 6 of us, 12, 13 of them, and then they would be one person be like, oh, that's that kid from Morningside High.
Man.
That plays ball. No, they good. They good. And they would leave us alone.
Yeah.
So in your situation, I know you had to avoid the gangs as well. How did you do that?
Man, my grandfather never really, I don't think he hit me. I think it's more mental. He made me more afraid of him than of being in gangs. But the guys that I grew up with started in high school. They started to go a little sideways, man. They would leave school and go do home invasions, like they'd break into houses. And they would come back to school and they would have, chains or money or necklaces and
all
stuff.
the shit they stole, basically.
All the shit they stole. And they would be like, you want some of this shit? I'm like, no, I'm good, man. I'm good. And then those guys ended up getting caught, and then other guys would beat up. I remember one time, man, there was a kid and his dad playing in the park, and those guys were throwing a football around. And then they were going to have a meeting, and they asked me to leave because I wasn't with those guys, and those guys I grew up with. And they ended up beating up that guy in front of his kid. And that's when I was like, these dudes, man, that's just bad, And I didn't have a father, so it meant a lot. And then those guys, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna gradually cut these cats out, and just I played baseball, but they were always around, and they'd always try to get you to go leave school. No, I'm good, man. I gotta do my thing, man. I got however, but I decided, it wasn't my grandfather's, upbringing that I just decided for myself that I didn't want to go that way. I could have.
Yeah, of course.
But I wasn't that type of guy, and I already was into comedy and all that stuff. So I decided to let them have that, and and go on and do my thing. But the thing, when I got back home and my grandfather was there, he would belittle me for like leaving and coming back early. What happened? Those guys kicked you out. They didn't want you around. How is that what happened? But when I was 14. We had this dance, and a lot of the girls from school were going, and then I was dressed in the best clothes that I had. Right. And then this guy said to me in front of everybody, I thought we were supposed to dress up. And man, it broke my heart, man. And I went home, and I got in my room, and I said, if I grow up and if I make anything of myself, nobody's going to ever make fun of me for the things that I'm wearing. And I've done it.
Yeah, no, you've done it and some.
Yeah.
So George, what are some of the things that you're working on or doing right now that we got to be looking out for?
Yeah, right now we're getting ready to shoot a pilot with my real daughter Mayan.
Oh wow, that's cool.
For NBC, and Bruce Alford, my original creator. They're excited about this thing called Lopez versus Lopez, like court papers.
Oh yeah.
And
is that how you came up with the name?
Man,
Lopez versus Lopez.
Divorce. Oh, great. You mean where I lost half my money? Yeah, sure. I think that's funny.
Yeah, let's go back to that, right?
My wife gave me a kidney and I left her. Yeah, why not? But that's one. And then, I have restaurants and beer and tequila coming out. And
what's the tequila? What's the name of the tequila?
Chicano. With the X.
Yes.
Hand bottled.
I'll be looking for that.
Hand bottled in Mexico. And the bottle is unique. It's so unique, it doesn't fit on the machines in Mexico. And Mexico, everything fits on a machine in Mexico. They're like, they have to hand pour on the ladies because it doesn't fit. It's beautiful, nice. I've been working on it for probably about 4 years. And then I have a children's book.
Oh, wow.
Called Chupacabra Carter. And it's about a kid growing up and looking in the moon and trying to decide where his future is going to be. And then he befriends a kid that looks like the Chupacabra, and they grow up, and he's looking for his family, and that's getting ready to come out too, and that's a good book. We're well written. I think the kids will like it. I think it'll be a hit.
Good. I got 2 granddaughters, or I got 4 granddaughters.
They'll love it, man. Very
so
drawn very well.
Get it and read it to them. And the restaurants are doing extremely well. I know that.
Good. Yep. Opening
you had
some
the
more.
one in Manhattan Beach, or
got the one in Hermosa,
yep.
and then I think they're going to open one in the Stratosphere in Vegas, and then there's one going up in some casinos around the country. So, everything's good, man.
Man. Listen, guys, I want to thank my boy George Lopez for coming by today. Look out for the movie later on, because, again, like he just said, we the only one know about that right now. This is something that hasn't been talked about yet, but when it comes out, check it out. George Lopez, my boy, my golf buddy, my drinking buddy.
My man.
Ooh, my man. I want to thank you again, G.
I love
you, brother. Love you, too. Man. Guys, this is another episode of Off the Dribble with your boy, Byron Scott. Wait for the next one. Check us out. And you can always go on and subscribe. We're on YouTube, and anything you can find that does podcasts, we are on it. So check us out, and we are out with my boy Joe Lopez. Until the next time, guys. Peace.
Xin chào các bạn, mình tô một bức tranh lại nha. Đây chiếc xe đạp. Yêu. Trời trời. Gửi điện thoại này nha nha. Mẹ. Cái này nói lăng phiêu trời không? Một trăm cây và 84 không? 84 ngàn. Ừ. Thấy không? Hỏi nghĩ này thôi coi có phiêu trời không? Mình đã hoàn thành một cái bức tranh nha các bạn. Bye bye.